Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I'm your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm privileged to welcome a very, very accomplished tech entrepreneur from Pune, India, Mr. Milind Katti. Milind, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. It's my honor to be here.
Thank you. Milind is the co-founder and chief operating officer of DemandFarm, which is a software product company. So, Milind, before we talk about DemandFarm, tell me about your own journey in brief.
Yeah, so I'm from this small place in Karnataka, and then grew up there, studied engineering, and then did my MBA in Pune, and then worked with Tata Motors for some time before becoming an entrepreneur. For the last 20 years, I've tried to found 4 or 5 odd organizations. 2 didn't work very well. 1 did very, very well, wherein we scaled it to almost 800 people before it was acquired by one listed NYSE listed company, and then now building another software product company. So live in Pune with a wife and a lovely 19-year-old daughter. That's I am.
So let's talk about DemandFarm. Tell me about this venture and what was your motivation to start it?
Yeah, so as I said, so DemandFarm is a software product business wherein we build account planning softwares for B2B companies, right? So helping them tools with managing their existing strategic accounts. So in our previous business, Ashutosh, we used to work with a lot of B2B tech companies in their sales and marketing process. And therefore, we had a very deep understanding probably of technologies that go into sales and marketing, especially for a B2B company. So we realized when we looked at it that for B2B companies, there were still the tools that existed were still managing contacts and opportunities. So a lot of people in sales and marketing will know these terms, right? But nobody managed accounts. So that was the gap that we figured out. And then we felt that they were missing the forest for the trees. And then these large accounts actually give them 80% of their revenue if you're in a B2B context.
Correct.
So that understanding led us to start thinking about this idea. And then slowly over a period of time, we developed it and made it into a product and now into a business. Yeah.
Wow. So what you do is outsource a lot of the accounts of different tech companies. Is that it?
Not now. No. This is a product.
Okay.
So it's a software which sits on the cloud, and our customers actually license this software and then build account plans, analyze their accounts, plan for their accounts, review account, govern those strategic accounts. Mostly it works inside a CRM platform typically. So essentially a point solution or an extended solution for key account managers of B2B companies.
Fascinating. And one of the things that has often been spoken about for software companies in India is that not too much has been done in building products, and DemandFarm seems to be doing that. We were traditionally in what used to be called body shopping and then software services. What have been some of your learnings and some of your challenges as you've built this into a software products company?
Right. It is so it is true that for almost 15, 20 years, right? So India was typically looked at as country of snake charmers, and then people visualized India as somebody with cows in the street and so on. A lot of things started changing late 90s, definitely early 2000, and thanks to the pioneers of IT services industry, right, from Wipro, Infosys, TCS, and HCL, and so on. So they found an opportunity where to begin with, the banks and insurance companies kind of realized that with the desktop and then the simpler computers coming into the picture, a teller or a cashier using a desktop can be far more productive and efficient or competitive compared to someone who doesn't have that. And then that suddenly created a huge demand for people to make these things happen. That was the opportunity our early pioneers kind of figured that. And obviously we had people and then they didn't have. And so the whole cost arbitrage, and that's how it started as hiring people. I remember 95, Ashutosh, when I cleared my engineering. Every Wednesday, I have to give test in a couple of these companies in Bangalore. You get selected, you get trained for 6 months, and then you're in the US. Right? So that's how it started. But of course, it changed. I mean, today we know that it's a $200 billion exports from India. With 5 million people directly employed, which is massive. And indirectly, it impacts a lot in terms of our economy. But coming to products, I think around 5 to 7 years ago, 3 or 4 things started happening together for us to start building product from the country, from India. Because it's no longer a cost arbitrage as an advantage when it comes to the product. So what happened is we started seeing capital being available. One, a lot of VCs became active in the country because products require capital. Because you build product for 3 or 4 years, massive investments in sales and marketing before you start making a revenue. So, so there was availability of capital, one. And then two, most importantly, this whole consumption of the product and then in a subscription way, and availability of product on the cloud, which is pay as you go, and a subscription way of buying a software. So, so essentially, software purchase moved from being capex to opex. Right? Nobody purchased it. They started renting the software. That made a lot of possibilities for Indian software companies then, because you're able to do a lot of things remotely. You can use your digital. You don't have to be in the US and spend millions of dollars in sales and marketing to actually start selling in the US. You can be an Indian product company and do that. I think these are some of the things that enabled us to do so. And then there's fantastic ecosystem now available in India. It could be product iSpirit as an organization, or it could be SaaS Boomi, or even NASSCOM's product conclave. I think all of those things I don't know. So was that your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for a great response.
Yeah.
My other question is that, when you look at building a product company, how have some of the companies like yours, and of course, a lot of the big names, and I'm not saying you're not big, but the early big names, the ones that you mentioned, the Infosys of the world and the TCS and the Wipros.
Yeah.
How have they helped to put India on the global map? And what can be done to enhance this and to keep the reputation going? Because you said very clearly that the cost arbitrage has now gone away.
Right. Yeah. So I think, as I said, these pioneers definitely helped create an image that, these guys can speak English. These guys know their stuff otherwise. So they changed the perception of who we were. And now probably we are in the second or third phase of it, where it can't be cost arbitrage alone. I mean, you saw recent Chat GPT, right? It can actually write code for you. So anything which is very simple will be done by bot-side AI going forward.
Correct.
So which means that we need to change our education system from there onwards, right? For example, today we don't need 4 years of engineering degree to become a computer programmer. Actually, it can be done in 6 to 12 months, right? So those kind of changes have to happen. One, and then other day I was just talking to somebody. I think we need to change our attitude from somebody who will answer if asked a question, because today the answers are already available in the internet. So the skill is about asking the right question, not really answering. So how does that change the whole system for us, right? So so we have to move one thing is we're slowly moving from predominantly being only a services company into a product company, right?
Correct.
And we can use this thing, and then we've started seeing that happen already. And it can't only be in case of IT. I mean, we have to do that in pharma, we have to do that in a lot of other fields, even manufacturing for that matter, retail. And then I think that's how we will stay relevant and then continue that momentum.
Very interesting. The other part is that, with so many startups coming in the tech space, how do the big companies become nimble enough to be able to handle the speed at which startups move? In the tech space, I'm asking, of course.
Yeah. I don't think they can. It's not easy.
Okay.
Right. So what they can do is do something kind of a turnaround, which I have started seeing.
Okay.
So for example, I mean, it's like if they try to become a startup, it's not going to work. So they need to continue to maintain their DNA, their strength, right? So what I've started seeing is companies, these large tech companies have started creating these small innovative products as part of the bundling solution that they have. For example, in our own space, Ashutosh, so a lot of these large organizations take up this massive exercise of digital transformation of sales in a global company, right? One part of it is key account management software. So when they take this big chunk of transformation work with a large organization, they will put my product as part of the solution. So they have to, if they start innovating in building these small products, they won't win. What is their strength? Their strength is large transformation work with large organizations, which is not my strength as a product company. So that's how they've started collaborating in order to make. I've seen this happen. Companies who have large automotive customers,
correct,
working with very innovative startups who are in the infotainment product of. I know a friend of mine who runs that, and then he collaborated with very large organizations like that. So these things have started happening, and then they've also started investing, of course, so as to pick up significant equity and maybe later acquisition, so that if they find interesting. I mean, that's one way of going. Almost all large organizations, if you've seen, they announce acquisitions almost every 6 months.
Correct.
But you invest, and then how do you continue to keep them independent enough so that they don't become a bureaucratic organization that you are? Sorry, so I mean, that's important. You acquire because you have cash, but keep them independent, keep them interesting, probably. So probably some of those things, I guess, I've started seeing.
Yeah, thank you. Great response. The other thing, when I was reading about you, you say that you are a strong proponent of goodness as a business strategy and a precondition to success. Help me understand this with an example.
Sure. So again, I mean, because of whatever traditionally, right? So all the businessmen were looked down upon as a culture, right? Like ye chalu hote hain. I mean, I don't know. So it was but
traditionally in India, profit was a bad word, is a dirty word.
I mean, but somehow it became. But traditionally, again, if you go back much before, right? So we always talked about Shubh Labh.
Absolutely, I agree. That I agree.
Right. So there has to be, if you do Shubh, then Labh comes. That was the concept. So I'm only reiterating that now in the modern context, right? So what I'm essentially saying is that, for me at least, and then I've seen this work with a lot of people. So an intellectually honest conversation, be it with customer, be it with a potential hiree, or be it with an existing employee or a partner, has always worked for me. So can I be authentic, sensitive, and vulnerable, and be nice in every of my interaction with the world? And it helps you attract good team, good customers, and it has always happened for me. A lot of times I've figured out, okay, why did this guy help me? I mean, right? The only thing is, okay, your entire body language, your persona is going with a good intention and something to do big, but with a good intention, right? And people see through that, and good people join you in that cause. They could be customers, they could be employees, or they could be potential employees, or partners, or VCs. So I think in the long run, it's always worked, and therefore so all my great hires, all my initial customers have come from this niceness that I carry in my persona. Right. And it also creates a culture in the organization. So today I hire nice people. They in turn hire nicer people. So jerks usually don't stick in my company or around me anyways. Right. However performers they are, by the way. Right. So it creates a tension-free, politics-free, stress-free environment for people to be themselves and express themselves.
Oh, wonderful. And what a great example. Thank you. So, Milind, now let's talk a little bit about startups. Very large number of people who will listen to our conversation are either startup entrepreneurs or people who are aspiring to be startup entrepreneurs. And you are the quintessential startup entrepreneur. You founded 4 companies and you very candidly said 2 didn't work. So let me start by asking you, why do startups fail?
So, I think the most common reason that I have seen is basically one of the fundamental things that we need to think about is the startups fail because we found what in the beginning you think that, okay, here is a problem that I'm solving, or here's a product I'm building, here is a solution that I'm creating, and it works. So as early as possible, if you're able to validate that and then figure that out, okay, is that really somebody am I really solving a problem for somebody? And even if the answer is yes, is somebody willing to pay for it? That's more important, actually.
Correct.
Because not all problems are something where people want to pay, no?
Correct.
They're not going to live with that problem.
Correct.
Right? But it's very important that, so validating both of this as early as possible, and then be nimble enough to keep changing. What I've seen is founders being very pig-headed with their idea and stuck with their thing. No, this is what it is. And then, so I guess, and eventually realizing, and then they start actually becoming bitter because nobody is buying, and then they start blaming others. No,
correct.
So I think that's one of the reasons I have seen this thing. And then second is, suppose you got this right, right? You have really identified a problem where somebody is willing to pay for solving it. Then the startups fail if you mess the execution part of it. Right? Execution is a completely different ballgame after that.
Correct.
Right? So you didn't get the right team, you ran out of money, you didn't spend the money well. Basically, executing and scaling is where the second stage in which they fell. And somewhere in between, I've also seen startups fail because the founders fall apart in trusting each other. So so those are
very interesting.
Top 3 for me.
But your response gives me an interesting segue to my next question. Again, this is debated. Should an entrepreneur go solo, or should they have a co-founder? And I know you are a co-founder.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that there should be at least 2 and not more than 3.
Okay.
Right. So it's between 2 or 3. And I'll tell you why. I mean, so firstly, there are 2 or 3 different complementary personalities and then this thing which are important, right, for a company to succeed. And it's important that those 2-3 different types of people are there. Especially someone who has, in my case, I was very lucky where my co-founder Abhijit can look at a larger picture. I can get into the details, right? So he's been the CEO and I've been the COO and things like that and so and with tremendous amount of trust. And then so complementary skills is one. The second thing is about that we all startups go through some bad phase at one point. If they don't, then don't scale, right? And it's very lonely out there, Ashutosh. So if you need a shoulder to cry on, or somebody to pat you back and then keep you going, it's very important. I think for that reason, but if it gets crowded, it's a problem.
Absolutely.
2, max 3. 2 is ideal, if you have.
Well said. So, Milind, I have time for 2 more questions.
Sure.
One more relating to startups. And this is that, again, there's a lot of debate. Should a startup founder bootstrap as long as possible?
Yeah.
Or should they raise money whenever it's available?
No, bootstrap, hands down, right? See, the thing is, the problem with having lots of capital early too soon, even when you know it, you start throwing dollars at the problems.
Correct.
Right? And there are 2 phases, or at any point of the 2 processes which are happening in the startup, right? There's hustling and scaling. And in the beginning, it's about hustling, which means you experiment, and then figure out, okay, what's working, and then you scale. right? My belief is you need to raise money only to scale. If you raise money to hustle, you'll end up with wrong results of your experimentation, right? So you need that frugality, you need this innovativeness to, you can't throw dollars to figure out to create a MVP, right? Minimum viable product.
Correct.
You need money only to scale. So raising when you don't need, you end up making wrong experiments. You end up throwing dollars and not your intellect in solving the problem. So I guess, yeah.
Very interesting. And my last question to Milind, and this is for the many, many people who will listen to our conversation. You've had such an amazing journey, an entrepreneur, startup founder in the tech space, successful, had a great exit. Based on your own journey, what would you say are 3 lessons you want our viewers and listeners to take away from our conversation?
Sure. It's kind of a little hard to put everything into 3 lessons. So let me try this, right? I think there is really no substitute for perseverance and hard work. However smart you are, however talented you are.
Yeah.
Okay, so because there are really no shortcuts.
Yeah.
So it's something that we need to kind of keep that in mind.
Correct.
And then I think I did talk about be nice, be honest.
Yeah.
So that more people come to join you for your cause.
Correct.
Right. For whatever you're trying to achieve. It could be business or otherwise.
Yeah.
It's a very important lesson that I picked up somewhere on the way, right? Especially while building an organization or building something where there are more unknowns than knowns. Suppose something goes wrong, right? Our first instinct is to figure out, okay, who made the mistake, right? But we have to look at, okay, what went wrong. 99% of the times, it's not the individual, it's the system.
Correct.
Right? But our first response is, kisne galti kiya?
Correct.
Right? Correct. So avoid that mentality and start looking at what, because if you focus on what went wrong rather than who went wrong, we might end up with a solution that won't get repeated.
Well said.
And it's true. It's also true when something goes right, by the way. We also make heroes too soon. When something goes right, we give the credit to an individual and we make person a hero, but it's a system who is the hero again.
Absolutely.
So we have to study what went right and what went wrong rather than who became a hero. So it's like I keep talking about, it's the heroics that matter, not the hero.
Very well said. Very well said. And on that note, Milind, then your 3 amazing lessons. There is no substitute for hard work. There are no shortcuts. Be nice, be honest. I love the way you explained so easily the word Shubh Labh, which was really, goodness and success. They go hand in hand. And the third one, it's such a powerful comment that don't blame anybody when things go wrong. Don't overly glorify someone when something goes right. Look at the system, because that is what will give us the answers to what went wrong and what went right. Sure. Thank you for speaking to me, Milind, about your journey, about DemandFarm, about how the tech business has been evolving and how it will continue to evolve. And finally, thank you for talking to me about startups. Thank you again, and good luck.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. My pleasure. Lovely talking to you.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.